she said, yeah, I did it, and is the son of a dead? Hey y'all, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you didn't know, and today's video is another true crime episode. So if you're ready, let's go. All right, y'all. So y'all already know, first things first, nail cam. So these nails, I feel like I did this design before already, but in different colors. And I don't know, I think I like the pink, like the more pink better, but I also like the more blue better. So are you? Oh, they don't never want to focus when I needed to do what I needed to do. But then when I don't need it to do this, it just be doing this. Like, come on, guys. All right. So anyway, y'all let me know which one y'all like better. I don't know. I actually like them both. And I have sort of become obsessed with the round nail thing. I don't know. Is this round? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I think my nail bits are too big because I be wanting the slim round and these kind of thick, but I still like them. Like, they cute, right? I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so in other news, the kids started back school last week Thursday. So I'm going to try to be more consistent with these videos because I don't know, like during the summertime, I really be so focused on the kids and it just be a lot of stuff going on that I really don't be having time to just sit down, research, and then record a video. So I know that during the summer months, the content be kind of sparse, but I'm about to try to pick it back up. And I promise y'all, every month I'll be like, I'm gonna do a video at least once a week. So like 4 videos a week. And then when my end of the month recap come, it'd be like, you've done 2 videos this month. And I'd be like, bro, what happened to 4? But yeah, y'all, I'm super excited though because I reached 2,000 subscribers and I am still trying to do that Q&A. But the problem with the Q&A is that don't nobody ask me no questions. I had like 2 people ask me questions and then my sister asked me like 10 questions. And I feel like that don't count because I feel like she already knows the answer to said questions, girl. But anyways, with all of that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into today's case. So it's 1967 and 2-time divorcee Shirley Spencer finally married her forever man, Ronald Nelson. And like I said, this was Shirley's 3rd marriage. The first one ended in annulment because her husband at the time came from a very Catholic family and they expected her to have a boatload of children for this man. However, Shirley was unable to do so due to medical reasons that I do not know. And then she was married again, and I believe that they stayed in this marriage for about 12 years. And during this second marriage, Shirley ended up gaining 2 stepchildren because her husband had 2 children prior to the 2 of them being married. And she treated these kids as if they were her own. And even after this marriage ended in divorce, Shirley stayed in these kids' lives and she became a grandmother to their children and all of that. Like, the divorce didn't stop her from being a parent to her stepkids. That's what I'm trying to say. But again, like I said, it's 1967 and she has now married her 3rd husband, Ronald Nelson. And the fact that Shirley couldn't have kids did not bother Ronald at all. And also the fact that Shirley was approximately 12 years older than Ronald didn't bother him at all either. At the time of their marriage, he was 24 years old and Shirley was 36 years old. And shortly after the 2 of them were married, Ronald would get a job working for Ronald Schultz, who was the creator of the Peanuts cartoon, you know, Charlie Brown and them, as the creative director. Was he the creative director? No, he was the VP of Creative Associates. Basically, he was the VP of marketing for all of Peanuts products, like their toys, lunch boxes, clothes, any paraphernalia that the Peanuts had, Ron was the VP of. And over the course of their marriage, the 2 of them would live a cozy little lavish country club lifestyle with each other in Santa Rosa, California. And their marriage would last for the next 28 years before all hell broke loose. So it's July 5th, 1995, and police get a call to the Peanuts headquarters, which is located at One Snoopy Place in Santa Rosa, California. And I believe that the call was in reference to gunshots fired. And once the police got there, they encountered two severely wounded people. Out in the front, they encountered 53-year-old Ronald Nelson, and inside the office, they encountered 65-year-old Shirley Nelson. And it was apparent that the both of them were suffering from gunshot wounds. Ron had been shot twice in the back, and Shirley had been shot once in the chest. However, both of them were still alive. They was hanging on by a thread, but both of them were still alive nonetheless. So once the scene was cleared, the paramedics rushed in to get both of them off to the hospital to perform life-saving measures. Now, Ron was in way worse condition than Shirley was, having been shot twice. And it really just didn't look like he was gonna make it. However, Shirley, on the other hand, although she was shot in the chest, when paramedics arrived, she was still conscious, alert, and coherent. And one of the officers was assigned to ride with her to the hospital. And during the ride to the hospital, the officer wanted to get as much information from Shirley as possible, being that she was awake and coherent and speaking. And so he asked her, like, what happened? And Shirley did not hesitate when she said, I shot him and then I shot myself. Shirley didn't hold back after she told the officer this. She said, yeah, I did it. And is the son of a bitch dead? Because that was my intention. I hope he dead. I hope he died. She wanted Ron deceased. But despite being super vocal and coherent throughout the ambulance ride, once Shirley made it to the hospital, she barely had a pulse. And just like her husband, Ron, she also had to be resuscitated and rushed into surgery. And it wasn't looking good for either one of them. The doctors and the staff at the hospital didn't think either one of them was going to make it post-surgery. Now, either way, whether the two of them made it or just one of them made it or not, the detectives and the investigators wanted to know why and what the hell was Shirley thinking? Why would she do this? And it turns out that Ron and Shirley's marriage had been on the decline since Shirley had a stroke in 1991. And although it didn't leave her with any physical ailments or any signs that she had had a stroke, Ron realized that, like, this lady is over 10 years older than me, and I'm really not feeling the age gap anymore. And even though Shirley did the best that she could to keep Ron interested in her, Ron had kind of checked out of the marriage. And by the spring of 1995, Ron had started having an affair with his secretary, whose name was Elaine Christensen. All right, y'all. So real quick, while I was editing this video, I realized that I've called this lady Elaine, but her name is actually Eileen Christensen. So anytime you hear me say Elaine, just act like I said Eileen. And it turns out that Elaine was more than 10 years younger than him. Now, Ron, I don't know. Now that I think about it, like, what if your little tenderoni here decided that you were too old for her at some point when you started having physical ailments? How would you feel about that? But nonetheless, this is what happened. Ron decided that it was over between him and Shirley, and he was out here thugging it with Elaine. By June of 1995, Ron decided to tell Shirley about the affair that he was having with Elaine. And obviously, Shirley did not take this news lightly. She was not just gung-ho, excited, happy about Ron having an affair with his secretary. But despite Shirley's opposition to Ron having this affair with Elaine, Ron had already made up his mind. He said he don't want to be with Shirley no more. And he ended up leaving their marital home by June 8th of 1995. And Shirley said she decided that she was going to take matters into her own hands, because 2 weeks later, was that 2 weeks or a week and a half? It doesn't matter. By June 15th, Shirley had gone to a gun store to purchase a .357 revolver. Now, being that this was in the state of California, she had to wait a 2-week waiting period because they had to do the background checks, paperwork had to go through, all types of stuff. But nonetheless, Shirley applied to purchase this gun, filled out the paperwork, did all the necessary steps, and was willing to wait the 2 weeks for this .357 to come. And in the meantime, while she was waiting to be able to have possession of this 357, she decided that she needed to know how to work this gun. And she took lessons at the gun shop's shooting range, and she learned how to handle the gun. She learned the safety mechanisms of the gun. She learned how to shoot said gun. And obviously none of this was suspicious to the gun shop owner, because this happens all the time. People come in, they purchase guns, they fill out the paperwork, they understand that they have to wait the 2 weeks. And in the 2-week period where they have to wait to actually be able to possess the gun, they come and learn about the gun, they learn about the safety, they learn, they learn how to handle the weapon that they're going to be in possession of. It's not uncommon. People come to the shooting range all the time. And while she was at the shooting range, Shirley didn't display any signs of malice, anger, hate, anything. Nothing was out of the ordinary for Shirley to be coming to the shooting range, right? So now the background check goes through, it's good. Shirley ain't got no criminal record. She has nothing that would prohibit her from legally obtaining this firearm. All the paperwork goes through. And 2 weeks after her purchase, Shirley is in possession of this 357 revolver. Now, initially, she don't do nothing once she gets this revolver. It sits in her possession for about a week. However, on July 4th of 1995, she and Ronald are on the golf course, and for whatever reason, they have this big blowout argument. And during this argument, whatever was said during this argument, or whatever was discussed during this argument, I feel like was Shirley's, that was her end game. That was it. This was her breaking point. And on July 5th, 1995, this is when Shirley pulled up to One Snoopy Place, the Peanuts headquarters, dressed in all black, in a rental car, and she went into Ron's office and told him, "You ruined my life. You going to hell with me." And in seeing that his wife was clearly unhinged and off her rocker at this point, Ron got up and tried to leave. However, it was already too late. Shirley shot him twice in the back and then turned the gun on herself and shot herself once in the chest. Now, although Ron was shot twice in the back, he was able to make his way to the front of the building where he was later found. And the receptionist had heard the gunshots when they went off, and she was the one who called the police. And like I already told y'all, Ronald and Shirley were both rushed to the hospital. And by the time they got to the hospital and into surgery, it didn't look like either one of them was gonna make it. However, and miraculously, the two of them both survived their injuries. Now, Ron would be in recovery for more than 6 weeks, but Shirley recovered pretty quickly, and she was shipped off to jail and was held under psychiatric evaluation. And come August of 1995, Shirley would plead not guilty by reason of insanity to attempted murder. Now, she did end up getting out on a $2 million bail in November of that same year. And the bail was posted by none other than Charles Schultz, because I guess he felt like she shouldn't be in jail, because he knew about the affair that Ron was having with Eileen, because Ron had told him. And when Ron told Charles that he was having an affair with his secretary Eileen, Charles told Ron that, look, you need to cut this off. You do not need to be having an affair with your secretary, because one, you have a loving wife at home, and number two, I really just don't need no sexual harassment lawsuits being filed because somebody's feelings get hurt. I don't know if it's going to be you or her, but I'm not trying to have that at my establishment. And he told him, if you don't end this relationship with Eileen, I'm probably going to fire the both of y'all. So I guess Charles felt like, I don't know why he posted her bail. But like I said, I guess he just felt like she shouldn't be in jail. So Shirley was out on bond up until her trial in January of 1996. And during this trial, it came out that Shirley wanted to pay Eileen off to leave Ron alone. Like, she was like, pretty much, girl, I will pay you to find your own man and leave mine alone. Don't mess with my man. And I don't know if this offer was ever presented to Eileen, but it was definitely a thought of Shirley's. And this part, I'm not 100% sure if it came out during the trial or if for whatever reason, people just know about it. But Shirley, prior to carrying out this attack on Ron and herself, she wrote letters to Ron, Eileen, and Charles and gave them to her lawyer to be delivered post her death. So I guess they were suicide letters. And the letter that she wrote to Charles Schultz said, "I had a wonderful life with Ron until this sloot," and I think she meant slut, but she spelled it S-L-U-T-E instead of S-L-U-T. Anyways, until this sloot went conveniently to afternoon motel sex. Maybe she'll work on you now. I have been destroyed and left for dead, and so I take Ron with me to rot in hell. And that's the letter that she wrote to Charles Schultz. And like I said, she wrote a letter to Eileen and Ron as well. But I'm trying to figure out how she thought Ron was going to get and or read his letter if she intended on him being dead too. Like, was her lawyer supposed to send it to hell? In any event, the jury in this trial deadlocked 9-3 in favor of an acquittal. So 9 people wanted an acquittal, and 3 people pretty much said, send her to jail. And so basically, it was a hung jury, and a new trial needed to happen. However, Shirley did not want that, and so she ended up taking a plea deal. And she pled guilty to manslaughter, and she received a 1-year prison sentence with 5 years of probation and 3,000 hours of community service, of which she served 6 months in prison and then a 1.5 years of home confinement. Now, as for Ron, like I told y'all, he did survive his injuries, although it took him a while to recover. He subsequently went on to divorce Shirley, obviously, and then marry Eileen. Now, can you just imagine trying to take your man and yourself out so that he can't be with this woman, and then both of y'all survive? And then he goes on to divorce you and marry her anyway? I'm pretty sure Shirley was devastated, but I don't feel bad for her, girl, because why would you try to kill that man? Anyways, after everything settled down and Shirley was out of prison and completed her home confinement or whatever the hell she had to do, she ended up changing her last name from Nelson back to her maiden name, and she lived out the rest of her life in a retirement facility where she passed away at the age of 78 in 2005 of colon cancer. And yeah, y'all, that is all I have for today's case. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. I feel like that's good. But I also feel like you should be closer. I don't even like Neo. Is that Neo? I don't know. It's 1967 and 2-time divorcee Shirley. Why don't I never know these people's names? And she treated these kids as if they were her own. She inherited... what? He loved Shirley for Shirley. And that was... what? So on July 5th, 1995, Santa Rosa, I keep wanting to say Santa something. So it's 1995 and police get a call to one Snoopy place in Santa Ana. And come June of 1995, Ron decided that he was going to tell Elaine about the affair that he was having. No, he wasn't going to tell Elaine. Elaine was the one he was having the affair with. Because he knew about... he knew about who? What's their name? Ron. Okay. Talk about a slap to the face. If this ain't it, I don't know what is. Like, just a straight up, bitch,